She fights on behalf of Chicago public school teachers. So why is Chicago Teachers Union President Stacey Davis Gates sending her own child to a private high school?
Our political reporter Marianne Ahern spent this week trying to get an answer. Marianne joins us now. And Marianne, finally we understand you have a response.
Allison and Stefan, yes. After 3 days of asking questions, we have confirmed this year CTU President Davis Gates enrolled her teenager to a Catholic high school. She does not want to talk to us about it, but she's been very vocal in the past about her opposition to private schools.
And not only that, this head of the teachers union called school choice and sending your kids to private school racist. She's blaming it all on racism. Let me explain. All right, so let's talk about school choice. Now, public schools in black neighborhoods are failing schools. It's just true. That's just what happened. In Chicago, the worst schools are in black neighborhoods run by the teachers union. Now, why is that? It's because they don't give a damn about those kids. And, as long as they're getting paid, they just don't care. So when parents and people in that neighborhood want to send their children to better schools, private schools, charter schools, the teachers union says no. And the teachers union president, as a fear tactic, calls those schools racist, because she wants to let the poor and minority students continue to be underserved. And she doesn't want them to escape and get a better education. And to try to prove that she's just like everyone else, she says, hey, I send my kids to public schools just like everybody else, right? I'm sending my kids to the same failing schools. She walks the walk and talks the talk. But now we know that she doesn't walk the walk. She actually pays to have her kid go to a private school. So now the community is saying she is a monster hypocrite. Why should you let other people's children go to failing schools while your child goes to a well-to-do private school? Here is this president of the teachers union calling private schools and charter schools essentially racist. Check it out.
Last year, in a Chicago Magazine article, Gates said, quote, I can't advocate on behalf of public education without it taking root in my own household. Publicly, Gates has voiced strong opposition to school choice in the Illinois Invest in Kids program that allows for tax credits that benefit private schools. On social media, Gates said, quote, school choice was actually the choice of racists. It was created to avoid integrating schools with black children. She also posted a link to this article titled, The Racist Origins of Private School Vouchers. Gates' family neighborhood school is Harlan High School. It ranks 437 out of 664 Illinois high schools.
Just so you guys understand the difference between the education a student gets from the private or charter school and what he gets from a public school, here is a clip from Morning Joe on MSNBC, where they were arguing with a teachers union advocate about the numbers, about the success between a charter school in New York and the public schools. And I want you to hear these numbers for what they are, because you're going to be shocked.
You say they aren't working. Let me show you. This is a Stanford study. I know you're aware of this study. Stanford study on New York City schools. You say it's not working. I want to get your response to this and tell me how they're not working. First, let's put up the chart. This is a Stanford study. Challenges facing charter schools in Harlem and New York. 91% of charter students participating in these schools are economically disadvantaged. They participate in school lunch programs. The charter school students are more likely to be poor, more likely to be black. And charter school students are predominantly from New York City's poorest and most at-risk neighborhoods. And then Stanford says, despite these challenges, this is how charter schools in New York have erased the gap between rich and poor. Students who attend charter schools close 86% of the Scarsdale-Harlem achievement gap, saying that Harlem students do 86% as well as Scarsdale students, which is remarkable, according to the Stanford study. Students who spend grades 10 through 12 in charter schools are 21% more likely to graduate and get a Regents diploma. And some charter Harlem schools averaged higher scores school-wide than schools in the wealthiest, and I will add, the whitest communities in all of New York State. Those are remarkable numbers, Senator, right? We should be standing up and cheering, go Harlem, because it's the center of a revolution that's happening in education, and you're at the epicenter of it. You got to be thrilled. I want to answer your question, but you bring up the financing. And let's talk about the financing here. This is full screen number 3, Chris. The cost of charter schools versus traditional schools. The cost per student of a charter school is $6,585. The cost per student in public schools, $10,771. Across America, there's about 60 cents spent per student in a charter school versus $1 per public student. In New York, it's more like 70%. So actually, you're getting better results in charter schools for less money. That is accurate.
No, that is not accurate.
Wait,
Number one,
you just keep denying that facts from studies from Stanford are not accurate. How do you say that? How can you say that? Is Stanford lying?
I think that those statistics, there are statistics that show the opposite. But let me just point out something. First of all, charter schools were always intended to do better for less.
Now, that was 10 years ago. And here is how the NYC charter schools are stacking up to public schools today.
Yes, well, this dreary weather can't possibly put a damper on the bright students shining inside of Success Academy Bronx 2, one of its nearly 50 schools. They passed their state exams with flying colors. School officials tell us 11,000 of Success Academy students in grades 3 through 8 took state exams. 76.4% passed the ELA test, and a whopping 82.7% were proficient in math. These rates are double and triple those of students in New York City district schools, where just 49% of all students passed ELA and only 37.9% passed math. The majority of students at Success Academy are children of color from low-income neighborhoods admitted through a random public lottery. We spoke with their principal and fourth graders proud of this achievement.
I'm deeply excited for my community. I was born and raised here in the South Bronx and in this community. So for our kids to really still show up, through our deep belief in them, it was really exciting to see.
I felt very excited, and my parents felt very proud of me.
Now, Success Academy tells me 100% of their graduates have been accepted to college, many of them to highly selective schools. School officials also tell me that many of these kids are the first in their families to have a shot at higher education. In the Morrisania section of the Bronx, Anthony Carlo.
Now, charter schools and private schools are outperforming public schools by double and triple digits. It's not even close. And almost all those students in those charter and private schools are from poor families in those poorest of neighborhoods. But the teachers union is calling them racist? So obviously the teachers union president wouldn't send her kid to a racist school that outperforms the public schools? Of course not.
President of the Chicago Teachers Union is defending her and her husband's choice to send their son to a private school despite the criticism it's created.
Davis Gates said, "It was a difficult decision for us because there is not a lot to offer Black youth who are entering high school. In many of our schools on the South Side and West Side, the course offerings are very marginal and limited. For my husband and me, it forced us to send our son after years of attending a public school to a private high school so he could live out his dream of being a soccer player while also having a curriculum that can meet his social and emotional needs, even as his two sisters remain in Chicago public schools. We will continue to oppose siphoning public school resources off to private instructions through voucher programs, and we will continue to fight against destructive and racist school closings that have left a trail of devastation in Black and brown communities."
So she's able to send her kids to private schools, but wants to keep other poor Black residents in Chicago. She wants to keep their kids in the failing schools. And then if someone says that's wrong, she yells racism. That's essentially all she's doing. Now, I challenge you to find a worse hypocrite than this Democratic leader for the teachers union. She knows those schools aren't good. She knows those schools aren't teaching her son. She knows that. But she wants to keep her $100,000 six-figure job, $100,000, $200,000 a year job, and tell you who are Black and need the choice or need the ability to send your kids to good schools, she needs you not to do that. Because if you were to take your kid out of that failing school and put your child in a school that would teach them, that was one of the best schools in the state, that would take money out of her mouth. So she doesn't care about your kid. She cares about the money for the teachers union. So I'm going to ask you, are charter schools racist? I believe this woman doesn't give a damn about kids, doesn't give a damn about any of this stuff. I believe only she gives a damn about is the bottom line for the teachers union. And if that means destroying the lives of black children in Chicago, that's what she's going to do. Tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section, people, because I think she's the ultimate racist, because she's the one who's really doing harm to black and brown children. Tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section. My name is Nate Deloy. I'm out. Peace.